This is the Augmented Reality Scavenger Hunts session for the ADE Festival of Learning 2020. This is going to be recorded, so just so everyone knows. Some quick housekeeping. Again, a reminder, the session is being recorded for those who are not able to join us or are in a different time zone and the time's a bit odd. So yes, this will be available later on my YouTube channel. I'm going to ask that you please do keep yourself muted if you can. We will make it open to a Q&A at the end of this session. And please do use the chat if you have any comments or you want to just put something out there as a thought or an idea. Maybe you're feeling inspired from the session and you just want to share something, please do that. Or you can list questions in there and I'll get to those at the end. If you are going to tweet out or share during the session, I ask you kindly please to use the hashtag ARInEDU2020. I'm on this really big push this year to get more augmented reality being used in classrooms around the world. And please do tag me. My handle is @LensDive85. So let's get going. If this is your first session with me, welcome. My name is Lindsay Studdard. I'm a digital teaching and learning specialist for an international school here in the UK. I have 16 years experience in education and a master's in early childhood. I am also a member of the class of 2019 for the ADE community, and I piloted the hashtag 25 Days of AR Challenge on Twitter last year. So what I aim to cover in this session today with you all is an understanding about scavenger hunts with augmented reality and how it relates to our pedagogical approaches. We're going to be looking at different types of hunts that you can make with the iPad, and then the actual process and workflow of how to make a hunt. Then we'll be looking at a few quick tips that are educational technology, quick tips for getting started, and then the option to get hands-on. So I put this time down for an hour in the festival. Half of the time was going to be spent on this presentation, and then the other half is to give you time if you want to go off and make your own hunt, or if you want to try one of the ones I'm going to recommend at the end. So first we'll take a look at scavenger hunts and pedagogy. So first we need to have an understanding about augmented reality scavenger hunts. What are they? Simply put, it is the ability for players to move in a physical space to collect or interact with virtual items.
Is that healthy?
And I have a sample one here all about searching for healthy and unhealthy foods utilizing 3D USDZ files. And as the players are moving around in a physical environment, they are able to collect various objects that are available to them and gain points as they're moving around in the physical space. You can also put different items such as questions, which you can have students answer as they move around. But the idea behind what they are is the combination of moving in a physical space to collect or interact with virtual items.
Would you like the game?
Yeah, let's play again.
So I've had a lot of conversations with educators from different parts of the world, and even within my own school. And I'm sure many of you have had these types of conversations of thinking about why you should be using different types of technology in the fall. And this is really based on the things that we've seen from the lockdown, from the situations with COVID-19, and how the different schools in different countries are tackling education. Three of the main things that come back from teachers are about student engagement, student physical well-being, and students' mental well-being. And these are three areas that we've seen, or at least in my case, and I would imagine for some of you as well, that you've seen some of your teachers struggle with in maintaining that student engagement. How do I keep them, interacting with me or with the content? They're getting Zoom fatigue, they're getting Google Meet fatigue, they just don't want to do it anymore. And then complaints from parents that we're not being cognizant of mental well-being or physical well-being of students. And so integrating with scavenger hunts that use AR is going to tackle all three of these areas, especially if we continue with distance learning or elements of blended learning. So first, let's take a look at engagement. We as educators really need to be open to the idea of approaching education and reaching our students in a variety of ways. And I've been in some sessions during this festival where it has been highlighted that the use of technology provides that flexible use and flexibility and differentiation, as well as creativity, and that being able to utilize all those different areas to reach our students is the ways that we're going to break out of our traditional mindsets and encourage more engagement with our students. So we want to ensure that our students are engaging with content because that's really key, especially when we're not physically present in the classroom with them. So being able to create these fun and interactive, even gamified experiences for students that can't come on campus or can't be with us physically, this is a way that we're going to be able to reach them and provide the content that we're sharing in a really fun way. We also want to be very aware about our students' physical well-being. So ensuring that our students are remaining active and outdoors while pursuing distance learning is really very prevalent. And it's some of the conversations I've been involved with have been centered around a student's physical well-being, because we know that sitting for longer periods of time in front of a screen to write essays or to participate in Zoom classes or to be involved in some discussions online, it can just fatigue them. And so this is a way that we can get them interacting with the content, but getting up and outdoors and being outside. This is also a really fantastic way of getting the whole family involved. So if you know for a fact that you have, for example, younger students and they're being kept at home with family or with parents, this is a great way of getting the whole family up and outside, everyone involved in the learning and playing these types of interactive games. Finally, looking at your students' mental well-being. So the way that you can set up your scavenger hunts is to engage the mind to solve problems and think critically and complete a variety of different challenges. So it doesn't only have to be about going outside and collecting things, but you can set different tasks for your students. You can engage them to think critically or present a variety of challenges for them, including multiple choice questions. And so we really are aiming to reach all our learners with as many different tools and methods as possible. And again, this can include having them complete tasks in the scavenger hunt, answering questions, or collecting items. So now we'll take a look at the different types of hunts that you can make when you're using the AR app. And there are two specific ones that you can create. One is a play space based hunt and the other is a geolocation based hunt. Now the play space hunt is based on a specific space and can be loaded anywhere. So you would set it up ahead of time virtually online and determine what the dimensions are going to be for that play space. And then a student can log in, can get into that hunt, and then can load it anywhere that they are. So it doesn't matter if they are indoors or outdoors, they can load the hunt and they can go ahead and start exploring. Whereas a geolocation-based hunt is based on a specific location and it needs to be played in that location, because where you are putting the different things for students to find, they have to physically be in that environment. So I think for the majority of us, we would be looking at a play space hunt if we're going to be doing blended learning or distance learning versus the geolocation hunt. You absolutely can make both, but I think based on where we're looking for how we would approach utilizing a tool like this in the fall, the play space one is going to be the most beneficial for the vast majority of our students. When you make a play space hunt, you can choose between two different sorts of layouts. One would be a rectangular or square type of shape, and the other would be an oval or circular shape. Now you can absolutely change the dimensions of these. If you look underneath each of those shapes, you can see what the meter size is, and the developers have told me they recommend a 4 to 5 meter play space because you can always upscale when you're playing, but you cannot downscale. So if your student goes outside with maybe a 3 meter hunt and they actually have a really big back garden, or they are going to a park and they have that bigger space, they can actually increase the size up to 200% and they can give them more room to move around. So a quick tip there is just to maintain an understanding of the space that you have for students to play with, because if they are working indoors or they're working in a limited space, you don't want to give them something that is going to be about 15 meters or so. Now, when you're in the app, once you've set up your play space, then you want to think about what kind of content you're going to be adding in there for your students to find. And the developers provide you with two options, either adding an item or adding a checkpoint. And an item is something that most likely they're going to be collecting as they're moving around, and a checkpoint is something they're going to have to interact with. So you have quite a variety of things that you can choose from. You can have the GIF option where students have to go around and look and find GIFs or stickers or an emoji based on things that you've put in there. But one of the ones I think is going to be the most valuable for us as educators to customize this is going to be adding in the custom items. And this is where you would get to bring in your own USDZ files, and set those up in your scavenger hunt. You can also put some more game type things in there for students to find to increase their point value as they're playing. And these would be ranging from the coin and the star to the different types of gems that they have there. Now, if we look at the checkpoints, this is where you're going to be setting something for students to then participate in or to complete. The first one is to post a reaction GIF to something that you've asked them to do. Is how are they feeling? Search for a GIF using the search and post that during the hunt. There's also the option of just having a no task where students have to read something that maybe you've put up there, which could be some critical information or some content or some of the curriculum. That can be set in there as well. Then you have two options that are utilizing artificial intelligence, and this is find an object or find a color. And if you put those types of checkpoints, it's asking the students to then use the iPad camera to either find that specific object or find a specific color that you've asked for. Now, the developers have told me that when it comes to finding an object, at the moment there's a limited amount that are currently available for teachers to use, and this could be things like find an apple or find a pen or find a computer or find a bicycle, but there is the potential to add more objects utilizing that artificial intelligence, and so you absolutely can have more things added in. And then finally, the multiple choice quiz, which I think is going to be the most relevant option that we as educators would use, is setting multiple choice questions that students have to find as the checkpoints and then complete those questions as they're moving through the hunt. So there's quite a lot to get you started making some really fantastic hunts, but then there's also the option for you to then have that element of customizing based on what you teach, based on who you teach, and the age ranges in between. So some fantastic hunt ideas. If you were to go into the app now, there are a variety of different hunts already available to you and to your students to go ahead and play. And these can range from doing physical exercise tasks to looking at the human digestive system, going on a spacewalk, or doing a sight word hunt. And some of the suggestions I've put on the side are based on the ones that already exist, or to give you ideas of how you might go ahead and use this tool in your classroom. So maybe you want to set up a storytelling or a story retelling where students are physically going through the different checkpoints or the different objects that relate to the retelling of a favorite picture book. Maybe it's the sight word and CVC hunt. If you're to go in now, the sight word hunt was made by our very own Paul Hamilton. It is a fantastic hunt and extremely popular right now. You can set physical tasks and activities using something like the quick exercise, or doing a pre-unit or post-unit check-in of knowledge by asking questions for students as they move around the space to check either their understanding of a concept that's been covered or to check what they may already know or think about a topic you're about to explore. You could set summative questions about a novel that's just been covered in class and have students move around the space to answer those questions. You can create visual math story problems or even math problems. As you can see, one of the examples there is to go and find different types of angles in the environment. Include vocabulary definitions that students have to answer. Create life cycles that they have to explore, or parts of the plant, or physically go through inside the earth. So these are just a few examples either that exist or ones that I've come up with, but really there's no limit to what you could do with this type of tool. So just to give you an example, this is what I created for early childhood, is looking for words that are part of the at word family. And so students would load this hunt, move around in the physical space, and look for the words that are hidden. You could also extend this by having a recording sheet available. And either students at home with their family could have this recording sheet and write down the words that they're finding as they're moving through the space, or do partner play, where two students are playing together, one is doing the hunt and one is recording the answers. And one last thing to mention at the end of your hunt, there is the option of producing a call to action button, where students, when they finish their hunt, can go and see something such as a follow-up YouTube video or a website. So you can absolutely add that call to action button there to either push students to a website that you've checked on. Maybe it has some more information about the content that relates to your hunt, or push students to something like a YouTube video where you want to extend the content of the hunt even further. So now we'll look at how to make a hunt. I think it's really key to understand the workflow. At the moment, the only types of files that are supported are USDZ files, which are three-dimensional files. And this is a workflow that I've created, and I've got the link there that you can download and have your own copy. It's a pages file of how to go about making an AR scavenger hunt, but utilizing your own creations. So I've outlined the workflow for you, utilizing some very common tools. So starting in Keynote, making your creations, moving those as PNG files and organizing them in the camera roll to then Reality Composer, and then bringing it into the Scavenger app to make your hunt. So I walk you through all the steps you need to take step by step in each of the apps, from Keynote to the camera roll to organize your assets into an album, to then bring those images straight into Reality Composer and make your individual scenes for the USDZ files, to then bringing those files directly into the Scavenger app as you're making your hunt. So I will make this link available as well on my social media. So if you don't get to download it now, that's okay. I'll still make it available. And I'll also put it in the ADE Festival page where we have this event listed. Additionally, if you want to venture yourself to make 3D assets, big shout out to my colleague Jacob Woolcock, who we chatted about this app a little while back in his Smashing Apps Live presentation. And this is the app called Clone EDU, which allows you to create your own 3D assets utilizing a scanning feature with the iPad. So you would place an object on the grid or on the QR code, rotate and scan it, and it generates that USDZ file for you using anything that you have in your house. So if you have particular objects that you'd like to include in your hunt, give this a check out. Jacob has it listed on his YouTube channel, walks you through all the steps and how to create these USDZ files from objects that you have in your home. So we're coming to the quick tips section now. Some technical things, and we do actually have the developer, one of the developers of the app, Mark, is here with us today. So Mark, feel free to jump in if you have anything else to add, but these are some of the technical tips that we've come up with that are worth noting. You can use the screen recording feature of the iPad to make a video of your hunt. So students could do that as the accountability for your hunt to then share with you. You cannot add more assets in between assets that are already placed. So once you've gone about the setup of your hunt and placed where the students are going to have to find different things on the grid or in the play space, you can't go back and add more things. So it's really important to think about how you're going to set up your hunt ahead of time through maybe some sketchnoting or through some planning on a grid, because you cannot go back in and add more after. At the moment, cross-device creation is not currently supported, so you can't really start creating a hunt on an iPad and then move to finishing it up on your phone. It's not currently supported, so you have to try and do it all from one device. Again, just a reminder that the size of a play space layout can't be changed after you've created the hunt. One fun thing to really mention is during the play, if you hold your finger on the screen, a screenshot will get taken, which you can review to keep at the end of the hunt. And you can take multiple screenshots as you're playing. And these screenshots will actually remain in sight during the hunt play. So as you're moving around the physical space, you can actually see your images that you've taken just sort of hovering there as a reminder of what you took. And then you can absolutely keep those at the end of the hunt. We'll save it to your iPad camera roll. Again, currently it only supports USDZ files, but they are working on adding GIF and PNG options, which I know will be an absolute lifesaver for most of us, that we are Keynote advocates and we make all of our stuff using Keynote. they're working on us being able to make our work in Keynote and bring it directly into the Scavenger app. Again, geolocation-based play requires players to begin at the exact location of the start point, and players have to align to the start point before beginning the hunt. And one final thing, there is a current max of 3D assets that you can bring in for your hunts. It's set at 30. So these are just some technical tips. Mark, I don't know if you have any other ones that you want to share. If not, I'll go ahead on to the education tips.
No, I think you summarized it pretty good. Thanks.
Okay, fantastic. So some education tips, extend the hunt. Make it, take it further by creating a recording sheet, again, for partner or at-home play extensions. And then that's also the accountability for you, that you get something back from the students. Take the learning further with that call to action button at the end of the hunt. Either push your students to a website that you've found aligns with the content that you're covering, or to a YouTube video that extends that content further. And again, for younger children, I do encourage partner play if possible, based on the current situation that we'll be going through. And finally, create and share your hunts. So once you've made them, you can share these through links to various platforms for your students. If you're a Seesaw user or a Google Classroom or a Shobi, you can absolutely send that out as a link for students or embed it into tools like Book Creator. Now, the really, really exciting part, and I will have Mark jump in if he needs to add anything else, but at the moment, this app was not designed to be an education app. However, with so much feedback from other educators such as myself and Paul Hamilton, and I'm sure a smattering of others, they are deciding to create an education version of this app with an education platform that would allow you to create classes to assign hunts to your students and check their progress in hunts. So if you are a user of tools such as Edpuzzle, where you can go in and check your students' progress through the videos that they're watching, you could do something similar and check their progress as they're going through these types of hunts. There is a feature in the hunt that's called Skip Item. And as students are going through, or as a player is going through a hunt, if for some reason you can't complete one of the tasks, maybe it's out of range and it's in a hedge and you just can't actually reach it, you can skip the item. And I've spoken with Mark about the possibility of teachers being able to turn this off. So you can force the students to go through all of the, either the items or the checkpoints that you've set in your hunt. Also looking at the ability to track how many times a call to action button has been clicked. So if at the end of a hunt, you're expecting your students to go and click on that button and go to a website or go to a YouTube video, they are looking at how many, being able to track how many times that button has been clicked. At the moment, if you include a recording sheet, you can make a link available in the description of the hunt, but it's not clickable. And so they're looking at how that could be made clickable as a download in the description of the hunt as you make it available. Now, some really, really, really exciting stuff. The ability to add decorative items to enhance the immersive experience of the hunt. And what I mean by this is not only being able to set up an augmented reality based scavenger hunt, but being able to decorate it. Imagine you are retelling or having your students go through the retelling of the story of Eric Carle's The Very Hungry Caterpillar, and the students have to go around and find all the different food items that the caterpillar had eaten. But what if you're doing that and there's giant blades of grass that the students are having to move between, or trees or leaves, or they have to go under a bridge, and being able to add all those extra elements in and being able to even, I believe, upload your own at some point to enhance the immersive experience of this hunt. And even a step further, being able to add ambient or background music. So when a hunt is loaded, the students get this fully immersive, fully engaging of all their senses experience as they're moving around. So in a way, making this very immersive video game style first-person experience for the students with our own creations as decorative items and our own music and tools that we use, such as GarageBand. And finally, one really amazing feature they're looking at adding is for accessibility and being able to make text-to-speech possible for students that cannot read, have difficulty reading, or have learning difficulties, being able to come across a question in a hunt or text in a hunt and being able to have that read to them. So these are some really exciting education updates that are hopefully coming soon, and I think will be game changers for a lot of us that want to go ahead and use this with our students in the fall. So Mark, is there anything else you want to add before I move on to the last section?
I think we're pretty much good. I've just seen the question how to integrate their own USDZ, or that they don't see the custom item setting. That's due to the fact that you need some kind of access rights to implement your own. And we're happy to give that out just so you're not asking yourself why this section isn't there yet. But other than that, no, that's it pretty much. Sounds very good.
Thanks, Mark. Yes, I'll provide that information for you at the end of our presentation here. So now the really, really fun part, and this is where we're going to just sort of wrap up and give you the chance to get hands-on. There is currently a live 2020 ADE Festival of Learning challenge for you to celebrate our Festival of Learning that's occurring this month and to challenge yourself to test your knowledge about the ADE community. So if you were to open the Scavenger app, once you're in and click on Discover Hunts, using those arrows in the top left corner to filter by name, search for 2020 ADE Festival. It should be one of the first ones and you can start playing. And I would love to see your interactions with the content I put in there. There should be about 20 different things, either tasks or questions or things for you to complete. If you do this, please either take some screen recordings or do some screenshots, put them up on social media. Please tag me at Lynn'sDive85 and use the hashtag ARInEDU2020. If you're not able to do that now, that's okay. I'll make this link available on my social media so that you can have a go, and I'll also put it on the Festival of Learning under this particular event. So please, it is a big one, so you're going to need some space. You're going to move about 100 meters in this, and the play space is set at a 10-meter range. But get out there and show us what your knowledge is of the ADE community. And just finally, thank you again for Mark Wright, who joined us from Scavenger this morning. This is his contact information. Please do follow them on Twitter at GetScavenger. And there is the link at the bottom, the type form. If you're interested in pursuing more of the features that I've talked about today with your students, give that information in the type form, and that will allow Mark to then follow up with you. So I'm going to make it open now for questions, if anyone has any going forward.
Hi, Lindsay. Thanks a lot. This is Alicia here. Nice to see you. Thank you for the presentation. My question was, I was trying to start my own, create my own. I don't have the custom item in my list of options. Is that a premium thing?
Yes. So if you're to click the link, and I'll just go ahead and paste it into the chat here. Let me go ahead and grab this. If you go ahead and give that information to Mark, he will be able to assist you with that. So there is the Scavenger type form. You can go ahead and put your information there, and then he will be able to help you get access to a lot of those features that I've talked about today.
Okay, great. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
No problem. I'll also go ahead and just pull from the presentation. Yep, I can get that for you, the ADE Festival Hunt. I'm just going to grab the link for the workflow. Let me go ahead and get that for you right now. This is for that Pages workflow document. So if you want to go ahead and have a go with that workflow of creating your own assets from Keynote to Camera Roll to Reality Composer and then to the Scavenger app, the link is now in the chat there, and you can go ahead and download that. Please let me know if there's any issues with the file. I just got it finished uploaded this morning, but just let me know if there's any issues, and I'll get it sorted out. And then finally, the ADE Festival of Learning. If you just go into the app and search 2020 ADE Festival of Learning, sorry, that's how you're going to find it. It's just searching by the name. Okay. All right, I'll get that open up. The access. Are there any other questions? I'm just going back through here now to see. I'm glad to hear Alicia's going to be out there in the afternoon this afternoon having a go with it. Fantastic.
Yes, I am. I'm going to try this thing out. I hope they're not difficult questions. I have no idea what we're supposed to know as an ADE, so I'm going to check and see what challenges. Did you do that yourself?
Which one? The Festival of Learning one? Yeah, that one was made by me. So I apologize if the information in there is not entirely accurate or if it's a bit biased to the EMEA ADE group. Bronwyn, I'm just answering your question here. Yes, students would be able to do this from their iPad. So you're basically, they would find the hunt, or they would click on the link that you send them. It would force the app to open, and then they would be able to play the hunt that you have created for them. So they don't need any kind of trigger to get started. It's all just sort of set up ahead of time, and they download access to that hunt, and then they can go off and play. Okay. Any other questions? You guys feeling pretty confident that you can go out and make your own interactive scavenger hunts now? Is anyone thinking they might give it a go with their students? You can turn your mics on. We can engage in conversation. Fantastic. Yeah, and it can be used for foreign language as well. If you wanted to set foreign language questions, you absolutely could do that. That would be a great integration as well. All right, everyone, that's about it. If there's no further questions, I hope this was a valuable experience for most of you, and I'm looking forward to seeing the results of you going out and trying the ADE Festival of Learning scavenger hunt. And again, please do get in contact if you need more help, or contact Mark. Again, this will be made available on my YouTube channel later, so if you need to come back to it, the recording will be there.